Welcome to the Athletic Brewing post-race report for the 2025 Memorial Hermann IRONMAN Texas, the North American Championships. It's the fourth race in our IRONMAN Pro Series. I'm Laura Siddall, and now let's look at the race highlights. A huge start field of over 60 professional men hit the Roca swim course, and it was soon clear that it would be a big pack, more than 20 athletes breaking away from the rest of the field. In that pack, all the main players, Christian Blumenfeld, Rudy von Berg, Casper Stornes, Christian Hogenhauf, Gustav Iden, Matthew Marquardt, Daniel Beckergaard, I think even Ben Canute in his recognisable race suit was in there as well, and many, many more. Andrew Salvisberg and Wilhelm Hirsch did a lot of the work at the front of the pack, leading them down that final stretch in the canal towards the swim exit. Canal giving lots of spectators chance to see the athletes as they swim that final section and exit the water. So it was a large pack of men, all ran through T2 together. Ben Canute and a British athlete, Andrew Horsfield Turner, jumping on the bikes at the start of the Zoot bike course, that 112-mile, 2-lap bike course on the Toll Highway. It wouldn't take long before the big bikers moved to the front of the race. Christian Blumenfeld showing he wanted to take charge and he wasn't waiting around or messing about. Rudy von Berg, 2-time Ironman Texas champion, right up there in the mix all day long as the temperatures started to rise out on the toll road. The big pack of athletes, they made a lot of use of the race ranger lights to keep their distance and took it in turns at the front. And for most of the first lap, there's about a pack of 10 riders were all together with 2 minutes over the chasing group. It suddenly got hot out there, athletes making sure, there's Gustav Iden making sure he keeps himself cool as the temperature soared. Big pack of 10 together at the end of the first lap, but it was on the second lap that Australian Nick Thompson decided he would make a move. Thompson in his third year as a pro, and he was 14th here at last year, really putting down the hammer on the bike course. He'd get about 30 seconds lead and start to break up the pack, and at the same time Cam Wurf was doing what Cam Wurf does and moving through the field. Unfortunately for Gustav Iden, he suffered a flat, but it was a very quick change with the bike mechanic right there, wheel swap out, and he was back on the road. Cam Wurf pulled back up to Nick Thompson and pulled up a few of the athletes with him, about a group of 5, including Blumenfeld and the Spaniard Antonio Benito Lopez. Wurf had been about 3 minutes down out the water, but certainly had made that or diminished that deficit in the later stages of the bike. He would push the pace at the front, and he would establish himself leading the race. And towards the end of the bike, Cam Wurf and Nick Thompson would ride off the pack, coming into T2 with about a 30-second lead. Wurf would set a new bike course record of 3 hours 53 minutes, and also the fastest ever bike split in an Ironman race. And a total of 14 athletes broke that 4-hour barrier. Out on the run, Thompson and Wurf would run side by side until Blumenfeld and Benito Lopez made it a group of 4. That came about 3 kilometers into the run, but soon enough it was then 2 at the front, the Spaniard and the Norwegian. Christian Blumenfeld decided that was enough and he would take the lead flying solo. Behind him, Rudy von Berg was moving through the field well and overtaking Thompson, who would eventually finish up in 7th place. Christian Blumenfeld was across the line in 7 hours, 24 minutes and 20 seconds, setting a new run course record of 2 hours, 34 minutes and 3 seconds in the process, and an overall course record. A fantastic performance by the Norwegian. Antonio Benito Lopez, a fantastic 2nd place, and another podium for the ever consistent Rudy von Berg in 3rd. Cowboy hats all round for the men's podium for the North American Championships. Christian Blumenfeld, our champion, Antonio Benito Lopez in 2nd, and Rudy von Berg in 3rd. Looking at the final results for the day, so Christian Blumenfeld, that's 7 hours 24 and 20 seconds, and he collected 5,000 points for the Ironman Pro Series. Antonio Benito Lopez in second, Rudy von Berg in third, and then a great performance, Daniel Beckergaard fourth, Kasper Stornes in fifth, Paul Schuster in sixth. And there was huge changes in the overall Ironman Pro Series. The previous leader, Magnus Ditlev, now dropped to 10th. And it was Rudy von Berg with that third place that now leads the Ironman Pro Series. Christian Blumenfeld with his win, jumping 43 places into second. So looking at the women's race, the women followed just 5 minutes behind the pro men at Lake Woodlands. And in contrast to the men, we had two females clearly breaking away at the front of the pack. Rachel Zelinkas led out in that purple hat with Taylor Knibb on her feet in their red cap in second. And it was Zelinkas who would exit the water in a time of 50 minutes and 35 seconds, just 7 seconds ahead of Knibb. Knibb, as standard now in T1, puts on her socks and clearly prefers this for the bike. It makes her far faster in T2. She opts to do this. Many athletes just head out onto the bike, saving their socks until the run. Knibb was super excited for this race. It's just her second Ironman after her debut in Kona in 2023. Second, 2 times Ironman Texas champion Britain's Kat Matthews was exit the water just under 6 minutes down from the leaders, but did have the fastest T1 to regain some valuable seconds. Out on the bike, Knibb was driving at the front of the race, Zelinkas hanging on behind. And behind them, there was a chase pack that consisted of Hayley Chura, Stephanie Clutterbuck from the UK, and Teresa Adam of New Zealand. Kat would set about trying to pull back some time on the leaders and on Knibb at the front, looking smooth as ever in her aero position. She was probably riding about the same pace as Taylor Knibb. Taylor would break away solo, riding through some of the pro men in front. Like I said, Kat was holding pace with Knibb. Kat's now working with British ex-pro cyclist Alec Dowsett, who's a TT specialist and has held the track 1 hour world record. So lots of gains to be made, but she wasn't really making any time up on Knibb, holding pretty much the same time. Knibb looking super controlled, super dialed in out there. The scary thing is, she said she eased off a little bit in the back half of this bike and still went on to get a world's best bike course. So she led the charge, looking comfortable out in front, came into transition, took a little bit of tumble, but fortunately, I think, came out without any injuries or soreness, but did set a new bike course record of 4 hours 19. And I said the world's fastest Ironman bike split, and then headed out on to the Hoka run course. Fortunately, no signs of any distress from that tumble at the dismount. Matthews would also better the previous world's best bike split by just 22 seconds slower than Knibb, and started the run 5 minutes 43 seconds down, but certainly wasn't hanging about. She would be on the charge, trying to erase that deficit and looking smooth on pace for a 2:45 marathon. Knibb was also running well in only her second Ironman marathon, but was closed down by a charging Matthews in the early stages of the race. It would only take Matthews about 16 kilometers to catch up with Knibb, and she did not look back as she passed and took the lead, fully focused, eyes forwards. Temperatures were certainly getting hot out there in the woodlands in Texas, and athletes making sure they had everything on tap, the hydration. Taylor Knibb walking through some aid stations, which is a smart move just to make sure she can take on the hydration and take on all that she needs before setting off run again. But there was no stopping Matthews, and she was on her way for her third Ironman Texas title. Looking good, running strong throughout. Knibb was still running well, slowed a bit, but running secure in second place. And I'm sure the energy of the infamous Hippie Hollow keeping all the athletes out there on race day going, not just our leaders. Lisa Perter from Austria would move into third and was holding strong in that position, and then Kat Matthews took her three-peat, a record time of 8 hours, 10 minutes and 34 seconds, taking a huge 8 minutes off the previous best. Nib finished in second, securing her Kona slot, and Lisa Perter in third. Again, our women's podium, a spectacular performance by Kat Matthews, a run course record, overall course record, and a world fastest Ironman time. That 8 hours, 10 minutes and 34 seconds. Taylor Nib in second, Lisa Perter in third. Great race by Alice Alberts, who finished in fourth. Sarah Spence came in fifth. First time Ironman athlete Tamara Jewett debut great in sixth place. Hayley Chura in seventh. Stephanie Clutterbuck from the UK finished in eighth. And in the overall Pro Series, well, Kat Matthews' win jumped her 52 places and is now joint second place with our Ironman South Africa leader or champion Anne Reichman. But it was Chloe Lane who now leads the overall standing. But she does have 3 races on the board compared to Anne and Kat's only one. Tamara Jewett, Alice Alberts, Taylor Nib, Lisa Perter all made moves into the top 10. I'm Laura Siddall, and that was your Athletic Brewing post-race report from Ironman Texas.